You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
The following production is part of the We Be Geeks podcast collective.
Ian, look at this.
What, it's a police box. What on earth's he doing here? I mean, these things are usually on the street. I feel it. I feel it. You feel it?
Faint vibration.
It's alive.
Earth Station Who, a fun mashup celebrating nearly 50 years of Doctor Who universe. Hold tight. You never know where the TARDIS is going next.
You're probably a bit confused right now. I broke the glass. It's all come back to me.
This. What is this?
That's my ship.
What?
Let me take it from the top. Hello, I'm the Doctor. I'm a traveller in space and time. And that thing buried down there is called a TARDIS. Time and relative dimension in space. You're gonna love this.
Hey there, listeners, and welcome to Earth Station Who. We are going back to the Tom Baker era tonight, and we are looking at Ark in Space. That's right. This was actually Tom's second story. So this is really early as him as the Doctor. And this should be a lot of fun because it's the Doctor, Sarah Jane, and Harry Sullivan going to explore space. And giant bugs get in the way. Of course, there's always giant bugs. But it'll be a lot of fun to talk about. We got a great crew here. Sitting in as our guest tonight, let's welcome Bobby Nash.
Yes. Well, thank you for having me back.
Excuse me. Award-winning Bobby Nash.
yes, award-winning.
It's in your contract.
It's in my contract, yeah. And so, well, thank you for having me back. It's fun. I haven't taught Doctor Who in a while, so I'm looking forward to it.
It was funny. I was like looking, going through our history if we had reviewed this one. We actually did it way back on Earth Station 1 when we were still talking Doctor Who. Mm-hmm. But it was also, it was like looking when Bobby was on the show. And like the first couple of episodes of Earth Station Who, I forgot. You were like an unofficial co-host at first for the show.
Yeah,
so,
I did several of them right there at the beginning, yeah. So it was fun.
Because it was me, you, Mike, Gordon, and Phantom Troublemaker. Mm-hmm. So it was.
Kirby shows up a lot in those early ones too.
I know. We couldn't get rid of Kirby no matter what we tried.
I think he's still here. Careful, he might be behind you.
He might be hiding behind us. Either that, or he's busy reading Ready Player 2 because he's getting ready for that right now.
It's true. Yes.
So it's going to be a lot of fun to talk about this, and of course, you've heard our co-host this week, Mr. Mike Gordon.
Howdy.
How are you, Mr. Clean Shaven?
I am fantastic. Tom Baker, this is the start of the Hinchcliffe era. This is my wheelhouse. This is my love for Doctor Who comes from this time and place.
This one is a lot of fun, and it's going to be a good one to talk about. And of course, Mary Ogle is here.
Hi, everybody. It is great to be here.
And we'll get to look at your wonderful Dalek behind you, hand-painted by...
My hand-painted Dalek.
It is pretty awesome. It is awesome. And
I love the use of color in that. That's pretty awesome. Sorry.
Thank you.
It is awesome. Mary does some great artwork, and we'll let her plug her artwork at the end of the show. Or you could do it at the beginning of the show. I don't really care. We're just throwing it in the towel already today. It's like that kind of world right now. But it's awesome to be able to see all you guys today, and we definitely would love to hear from you guys at home. Please write us at feedback@earthstationwho.com. We definitely would love to hear what you guys have to say about this. This was one of my early Toms that, I had discovered Doctor Who, because I think I discovered Tom Baker's Doctor around 1979, 1980. And I remember the PBS station. This was one of the first ones that I had seen. So this one has a lot of meaning and good stuff for me. So it's going to be a lot of fun to talk about. So definitely would love to hear from you guys at home. Please write us, like I said, feedback@earthstationwho.com. Also, don't forget, we have a great social media group up on Facebook check out Earth Station Who. We talk about Doctor Who news. We put silly memes up there, and we even put our episodes. Definitely check us out. It's a great place to hang out with and hear Doctor Who news. So when there ever is news, because truthfully right now, all there is going on right now is
there's fake
rumors,
news.
Fake news. It's fake news. It's not real. So we're not going to talk about any of that on the show right now. Until if the news officially comes from BBC, who is going no comment right now, I think we should just keep quiet on it because we've been burnt way too many times. And you know what? It takes weeks for me to get the egg off my face anyway. So definitely don't want to do that. So definitely would love to hear from you. Love for you guys to join the Facebook group. Check us out. All right. I think we are just going to jump into this episode. I think we are going to have a lot of fun with this one, and this one is really fun. We're going back to 1975, and this one is going to be a 4-parter, and it was featuring Tom Baker, of course, as the Doctor. It had, of course, Elizabeth Sladen as Sarah Jane and Ian Marter as Harry Sullivan. Directed by Rodney Bennett and written by Robert Holmes.
Yay! I love Robert Holmes. He wrote a lot of good ones. He wrote Pyramid of Mars. He wrote Caves of Androzani. He wrote a ton of Doctor Who.
Yeah, this is like true classic good story Doctor Who at this point. I'm not going into Loch Ness Monster, but that's a whole, but everyone's allowed to have a bad day, as we like to say. So, but yeah, this is a really great era for pure science fiction Doctor Who. And one of the best things, and this is one of the crutches, I think, of the new series, is they spend way too much time on Earth. This period, they did not. And especially in the present. They had no problem going into space stations. They had no problem going to Skaro. They had no problems going all the way, around the universe. And it was actually pretty awesome to see.
This one, what is this one? 10,000 years in the future?
10,000 years in the future. So it's
at least,
at least 10,000. Because I think what the
he
Doctor
does
was
make
saying.
The comment, it's old. It was made 10,000, but it looks like it's old. So so it could have even been farther than the 31st century or something.
Yeah, it looked very 1970s. I don't know.
Somebody out there, and I probably should just Google this because I know some Doctor Who fan out there has sort of has a timeline of what happens to Earth and humans through the course of all the whole franchise of Doctor Who, because there's got to be somewhere, because there are so many times where in the future things are not so good on Earth. So
I also wonder too, though, does that timeline change with every new episode that says, because the Doctor being there obviously changes things. So,
of course.
Like in this case, he didn't because he wasn't on Earth. But we've seen those episodes where it's like Earth's in danger, he does something, and then
technically he saves humanity in this one.
That's true.
Yeah.
Because
helps humanity save itself. Is what I like to say, because it's not like the humans in this are completely without agency, right? I mean, I think one of the reasons that I like about this story, and Robert Holmes in particular, when he does this story, is that the Doctor's there, but he's an assistant, he's an aid to,
he's a helper,
right? Exactly, because he does let I think he says it in this a few times, more than a few times. He says in the story that humans are his favorite species, and I think the thing he likes about them is that once you give them a spark, they will take that and go with it.
Yeah, I think he loves their ingenuity.
But on the flip side of that, in all reality, if the Doctor didn't show up for this one, humanity would have become bug food.
True. Yes. True.
So,
well, that's why he's there.
Exactly.
But once he woke them
that's why
up,
the TARDIS is there.
Yeah. But once he wakes up a few, he lets them do their job.
Right.
You know, the one character, Zira, is going through and she is doing the medical tests and giving people the shots and waking them up safely. The doctor's not doing that. That's her job. She knows what she's doing. She's the expert, and he lets her go and do what
she actually becomes a very competent leader through this story.
Yes.
Because Noah gets wrapped up in bubble wrap.
Green bubble wrap.
It happens.
It's
Don't hate it when it happens.
I know. Yeah.
Well, this was my introduction to Doctor Who. This episode.
Really?
I saw it. I don't remember the year, but it was like you said earlier, Mike. I saw it on PBS when they would air them on Saturday nights as a movie. Mm-hmm. And that was how I did it. And I remember, like I said, I don't remember dates and years, but I remember we had, I had an uncle and some cousins that had lived in Tennessee, and they had moved back to Georgia. And so we had the big housewarming party, and a bunch of me and a couple of my other cousins spent the night, you know, because we hadn't seen our cousin in a long. So it was this big night of playing games, and we had a cookout. And that evening, I guess my uncle was a fan, and so he turned it on. And I'd never heard of Doctor Who, and I was just, you know, blown away by it because it was right in my wheelhouse of loving things like Star Trek and other. You know, I'm sure this was not. By the time I saw it, it had probably been out a few years, you know, past its original air date. But you know, I loved that kind of sci-fi stuff. So the fact that it was in space, on a space station, you know, with rocket ships and all that and aliens, it grabbed me and I was hooked.
This is a really good one, I think, to get introduced to Doctor Who because Tom Baker's great in it.
Yeah, he is. It's only his second story, and yet
he is the Doctor through and through.
You wouldn't know it. I mean, he didn't take a lot of time to cook.
Yeah.
No. No. He was off and running right from the very start.
I mean, I think Roboty's kind of rough, right? Roboty's not quite there, but he gets there. And then by this, he's just,
he's figured it out. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, and I think too with Robot, when you watching it now with hindsight, I can almost feel like Robot was written for Pertwee. It almost feels like it was written.
It actually was not.
It was not.
It was not at all.
In my head, it feels like it should be a his.
No, because actually, I was watching the bonus material on the DVD, and when Hinchcliffe inherited Doctor Who, he inherited a few scripts, and there was a script that that Barry Letts and company had worked on called Space Station, but Philip said that it was not usable at all. So he needed something for his first story that was going to air, and he gave Robert Holmes the go ahead and said, just write me something about a space station, and we got Ark in Space 3 weeks later. And so this was specifically written for Tom.
Well, no, but I mean, I was saying like it felt like Robot was a Pertwee.
Oh yeah. I see what you mean. Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Oh, very much so. Well, so also they did, at the time they didn't know what they were going to be getting with Tom.
Because it's a heavy unit.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's also why they brought in Ian Marter, because they didn't know what kind of like character Tom's Doctor would be and everything. So in case they needed, and you know, right away. Tom's took it, out of the racing gate, and literally, you know, Harry Sullivan became the idiot, and even in this
shoeless
episode,
idiot.
Yes,
the shoeless idiot. And the Tom and Elizabeth's chemistry is just so good, right from the get go. That for me, it's that bit where he's pulling her out of the air duct.
Yeah.
You know, these people act. I mean, they act like they've been together doing this act for decades.
And it's funny because you had great chemistry between Pertwee and Elizabeth, and they had great chemistry together. But Tom and Elizabeth just melted together. They almost became one, and you saw it big time in this one. You know, oh, you're just a stupid girl. You can't do it. And she said, and that was just so good that, and it was so well done, in this one. Because, it had some typical companion things because it felt like Sarah was wasted in the first 2 episodes.
Oh, she's very screechy.
Yeah.
I mean, she's just kind of screaming.
She's unconscious.
It's actually, it's very un-Sarah-like.
She's
actually.
literally put into a coma.
When she's awake, she's screaming, and then she's sleeping.
Yeah. But we get that great moment after, she does the whole thing with actually before she does the whole thing, she's the one who comes up with the idea of using the spaceship's power supply, and the look on the Doctor's face when she does it is pure joy.
Especially because he's ignoring her right up to that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I had to love in the, when she was in a nice little jumper dress type thing. When she got teleported, then when she went to hibernation, she got put into the spacesuit along with everybody else. But do you notice she had to have the 4-inch heels in her spacesuit?
As you do.
Of course. I just thought it was funny.
Because when you were asking to pick the episode, the thing that always stands out to me, or when I first think of Ark in Space, my first memory of this is that scene where the Doctor and Harry look up and the camera pulls up and you can tell that they're in this huge, bank of people. Mm-hmm. And that's always the first thing I thought. And that was one of the things that grabbed me because obviously, as a kid, it seemed bigger than it is now, And,
of course. But yeah, the one that always got me for this one was when the ending of the first episode, when they open the door and the bug comes out, falls on them. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, as a kid, that horrified you, Oh my God.
I was going to say, it's just like, too, like looking at it, watching it now, too. I mean, I watched it on a big 60-inch TV, It's certainly much bigger. It's it's a nicer quality of TV. And I think sometimes watching it that size does a little bit of disservice because of the limitations they had for, special effects are not what they are today. So because I know everybody talks about the bubble wrap, but as a kid watching it on a 20-inch TV, I bought the bubble wrap, But and plus, at the time, bubble wrap was not a common household item. It was not something that just. There was a lot of people who had never seen bubble wrap before this.
And actually, when the guy is being consumed, or when he's half bubble wrap, that actually is pretty effective.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So they did, and they get something out of it too that I noticed this time. Because I've seen this a few times in my life, but watching it. When I watched it over the weekend, there were a couple things I noticed is there's the sound that the bubble wrap makes when they're pulling it. I realized that's the bubble wrap making the noise, just like I noticed for the first time the screeching of the styrofoam when Sarah Jane is coming out of the cryostasis. Because they're in big pieces of styrofoam.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, and cut out into the figure.
Yeah, I've never noticed that screeching of the styrofoam until this watching of it. And so little things like that are little bonuses to me that just kind of worked.
Yeah, I will say I thought the sets, especially for the limitations they had, were pretty well done. I mean, especially when they're walking on the catwalk, and you see space through the windows, that's actually really well done. And all the bodies. I mean, it's very tuned with the Cybermen. We have all the bodies.
Underneath the rocket ship was very good too. I really liked that.
Yes.
And I thought that was a very nicely done set. And yeah, there's a lot of really good stuff in here. I applaud them for what they were able to do with this to make plastic look like slime. I mean, there's a lot good there. And,
Oh, exactly. And, the slime trails behind looked real, it was really well done. And, it was, I think the only one that didn't really go, ooh, was when Tom was walking through the power room and there was the room with the slime in it with the eyeball in it. And it was just like, okay, that just doesn't do it, especially on a big screen.
Yeah, and the bug creatures look. If you focused on them too long, they looked kind of, they looked like what they were.
They were,
yeah. But I think being smart and quick cutting around them made them good and terrifying.
Yeah, especially since that the director was bold and chose to light the sets up. I mean, this is very bright story as far as the way it's set on the space station, which I think was a smart move. But unfortunately, there's nowhere to hide like the bad makeup and special effects because there's no shadows really. It's all bright lights. But I kind of like that decision, and I think this story for me is one of those ones that proves that, despite you have limitations with the special effects, the exterior of the space station and all that don't look great, but yet as long as you have great characters and an interesting story and a creepy villain or monster, if not an idea for a monster, because even though it kind of looks silly, you still feel like what's happening is terrifying.
Well, they still pulled it off. I mean, the actors sell it.
Absolutely. Yeah. The actors are taking it seriously. And I mean, when the guy is, just got his hand in bubble wrap, if, the adult in me is like, oh, that's silly. But, I'm hooked because the guy is totally selling it, that he's horrified and he can't control his hand. Likewise, even though the bugs look really, stiff and very plasticky kind of, there's that scene where Tom is trying to talk to, or what's the word I'm looking for? He's trying to appeal to Noah's humanity, and at that point Noah's like gone. Like Noah's not a human at all. He's just this bug thing. And yet the puppetry on this basic plastic or whatever it was thing kind of looks like it pauses and is actually thinking about it, like, and struggling. And I'm like, wow, that's the power of puppetry, really. Like, how do you get that sort of attitude out of that stiff of a thing, right? But yet it works.
Oh yeah, I absolutely agree. And I also think too, you talked about how well lit it was. Yeah, because imagine if Alien had been all lit like this,
Exactly.
But I also love the set decoration. When they're in the Ark and they're in the station with not only the people in the tubes, but just little bits like the numbered boxes. You don't really know what they're for, but they're, just the set decoration, it felt, especially when I was a kid, it felt futuristic. And it felt like something that was in the future in space. And, now, I'm older and I know how the donuts are made. I can still look at it and go, oh, I know what they're doing here, but that doesn't matter. It sells that this is a working space station.
And it works that, it sells the fact that it's so brightly lit sells the fact that it's story driven, because this is not just a station. This is a sort of a medical bay housing all of these, comatose humans, and it's got to be sterile. It's got to be clean, so this bright light, if it was a dark thing, it would be like, yeah, but how clean is that really? How sanitary is that? But instead, when they go underground to look at the inner workings of it and the power supply, then it's all dark and creepy. But prior to that, where the bodies are, or where the the medical stuff is it looks like a hospital.
Yeah, they did such a great job of just creating an environment for these vivid characters to live in, and then it really made the story come alive. The sets become almost a part of the story.
Well, I think too, the bright light and all that, especially when they're in the Ark part with the bodies, you're not expecting danger there. So when he opens the door and the bug creature comes out, it's a shock because you weren't expecting danger here.
Well, exactly. And the cool thing with this is the space station almost becomes a character in this story, and it actually carries over into other stories later in the season.
Right, because at the end of this, they leave without the TARDIS.
To go to...
They
transmat.
The
TARDIS is still there.
Yeah.
Yep.
They transmat, and they go down to Earth, and that's where the Sontarans are. And then they try to take the transmat back to the station, get to the TARDIS, and they're transported by the Time Lords to Skaro.
Right.
And then after that, they somehow are mysteriously sent back to the space station, and the Cybermen have taken it over.
Yeah.
So, itself, that's almost like, I always felt like the Ark was a major player in this season.
Yeah, it's just really nicely tied together that way.
Yeah, and it's a great way to sort of, for Philip to make his own way, since you've just come off having a Doctor who was, I mean, at the end he wasn't so much, but he spent most of his time stranded on Earth. Like, he couldn't really use the TARDIS that much. And it's interesting that even though, so the first 3 or 4 stories here, we're TARDIS-less, really. Like, we're completely in space. We're completely science fiction bound. And that's a really unique way of flipping things over and showing how versatile Doctor Who can be.
And this is, I mean, if you put all of those stories together too, this is one fantastic season.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of good stuff. I mean, that one where they go to Skaro, that's considered like one of the pinnacles of Doctor Who episodes. And I mean, there's a lot of good stuff in this season.
Yeah, the Cybermen not so much.
Yeah,
but that's probably my least favorite. Actually, of the whole Hinchcliffe era, that's probably one of my least favorite stories. But even that one's not like terrible. Like so. Yeah, this. yeah. Don't put it on that level.
No, I was thinking because the Sontaran story isn't that great.
No, but
the
it
next
is.
One after.
But it is. It's okay. a visually well done story. I think. I remember being very impressed with the way they shot it, and it just I don't know that more so than the story. The story's okay, but
No, agreed. But this one though, it was interesting, and once again they end up trusting the Doctor almost just like that. And I always think if the Doctor has like some like pheromones or something like that he puts out into the air to make people trust him or something, or some kind of telepathy.
In the beginning,
it's the
after they shoot him,
it's his charisma.
It's his charisma. I would shoot Tom Baker too.
Well, but even Harry and Sarah Jane at the beginning kind of questioned him, like, "Why are you playing with a yo-yo?" Gravity test. He may have been pulling that out of thin air or other places, but they do. Like Harry seems to question him a lot in the beginning.
Well, this is Harry's first trip.
Yeah,
in the TARDIS.
It's understandable.
So he's not used to this at all. And I don't know. At the beginning, you're right. Sarah seems kind of whiny and she doesn't want to be there. It's cold. It's whatever. She's not. She just thought they were going to go to the moon and back, and she's not really into, I guess, exploring at the beginning of this. And it's unfortunate. Later on, she becomes the Sarah that we know and love, but she's kind of really crabby at the beginning of this.
If she thought she was cold in episode 1.
That's true.
But good stuff. It is nice seeing her. She has a very pivotal role in that with the climbing through the ducts and, to draw the court to save the day.
The last episode is her. She's really, it's a great Sarah episode.
Yeah, it is. And that's the great thing about it is it was she shined in this later part of the story. I can't say the same about Harry.
Yeah.
You forget he's almost there.
Harry doesn't shine a lot, period.
No, Harry is not one of my favorites.
No, unfortunately he's pretty weak as far as his run as a companion.
Well, especially with the two people that he's with. The two actors that are surrounding him are so much better. I mean, they shine. So no matter whether he's good or bad, he seems less than compared to them.
Yeah, I don't know if I blame Ian.
Yeah,
because he's all right. As an actor. But I think, to your point, you have Tom, you have Elizabeth, you don't need anybody else.
No, but like we said earlier, they didn't know at the time. That's why they put him on.
Right, because Harry shuffles off. I mean, he's not there for the long haul. And I think it's because they realized that, just Tom and Elizabeth were enough.
He's there a lot longer than you think, though. He may just it's like you forget about him completely, and then you watch like a story from 12th and 13th season. You're like, oh yeah, that's right, Harry.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because Harry stays until the Zygon episode, I think.
Okay,
I think so.
So yes, it's because I don't remember him being there that long, but I guess he was there longer than I thought.
Yeah, he's just not that memorable, and unfortunately, he's not written that well. I mean, he's written with things like basically right from the start, like he loses his shoes, and then he doesn't really contribute anything into the story. You're right.
Yeah, he spends a lot of his time kind of like yelling at Sarah, or
come on, old girl.
Yeah. That's true. Well, there's a couple times he does. He takes over the medical duties. To help revive the folks and everything. Yeah. He says, hey, I can handle this. This is, I'm a doctor. You keep on forgetting that he's a medical doctor.
Yeah.
And everything. They never pushed that part, At least in the new series, they kept on saying that Rory was a nurse, type thing.
Yeah, Rory.
Yeah, remember
Harry didn't even get that,
Rory felt a lot more competent than poor Harry.
Yeah, so I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought the story was great. And, folks, if you haven't seen this one, it is so worth it to go back and watch this. And I'm actually looking forward to eventually seeing this on Blu-ray and to see it restored.
It was a lot of fun. It was very nice to go back because, like I said, I hadn't seen it in quite a while. So it was very nice to take that little trip down memory lane and like I said, this was in my wheelhouse. Anything in outer space, especially when I was a kid, I was there, and I blame Star Trek for a lot of that, but, and not in a bad way, because my love of science fiction kind of started there, but, good stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh God. The one scene when they were, the Doctor and Harry were hiding from that, security system, and they kept on throwing things up. Hey, if only I had a cricket ball, and the Doctor pulls it out of his pocket like this. And that was just awesome.
Yeah, that was great.
Oh, he sacrificed the scarf. The scarf got
zapped.
Yes, poor scarf.
And then Harry Harry spends the whole episode with no shoes, and I'm wondering.
Well, he gets boots later.
Yeah,
he gets boots at the end before they go to back to Earth.
Yeah,
which is good because shoeless Harry would have been really.
That would be a great character's name.
That
would be
Harry.
an awesome shoeless Harry.
I don't know. Even though he got boots on, he'll always be shoeless Harry. Because just the idea of it, and that's the other thing. They kind of, when they were looking for power supplies, and Sarah, brilliantly comes up with using the ship's power to help. I was like, before that, I was kind of like, why don't you use the TARDIS? Like, I was like, it's right there.
Really obvious.
The TARDIS has a pretty big power supply. But it's all right. They sort of forget about it, but that's all right.
That's awesome. So let's go ahead. Any final thoughts before we rate this tonight?
The one thing I saw that was on, I got this from Wikipedia. I don't mind telling you, is that, we kind of look back at some of these things, like some of these stories ever since Alien came out, right? In 79, was that right? 78, 79, right? Yeah. That we look at like any time that there's a space station and with alien involved, an alien kind of invasion thing involved, we look at that going like that's the template, right? But apparently at one point Stephen Moffat was challenged by a reporter for borrowing material from an alien film, and he countered that with they never asked Doctor Who to borrow the plot of Ark in Space. so that plot was around before Alien. Alien, of course, made it popular, but
right, because the monster was slinking around air ducts in Ark in Space too. I mean,
exactly.
There's some similarities here. There's definitely some similarities, but it's not an outright copy. That's just a way of storytelling.
It's kind of a well-used plot.
Exactly. So, but I did think that was kind of funny that this one airs right. And Stephen Moffat, of course, knows his classic Who, so he's going to know. Yeah, he's going to know that. Mm-hmm. So, thought it was.
That's
funny.
Cool. That's awesome. All right, Bobby, this was your pick. So 1 out of 5 TARDISes, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best.
I'm going to give it a nice 4.5. I loved it. There's a lot of memory attached to it as well. There's a lot of sentimentality attached, because, we're always attached to our first Doctor, but we're also, I'm attached to this because it was the first time I met the Doctor. And so there's a lot of sentimentality attached to it, but I still find it a fun story, just a lot of fun. I love the sets. And so, just all around, I'm excited. Much so I came prepared tonight for my episode.
Oh,
he's got his Sonic.
Yes, and actually, the Doctor used his Sonic the proper way in this.
He did.
He didn't use it to take readings or anything. He unscrewed a Dex. It was awesome. Okay, Mikey, what do you got?
I'm going to side with 4.5 as well. I think it's this is my favorite era, and this is the beginning of it. And even though I know some of the special effects and whatnot don't hold up these days, I was encouraged again on the bonus material. The actor who plays Noah, Kent Moore, was talking about how recently his grandkids called him up and were like, "Hey, Papa, we're watching, Ark in Space." He's like, "Oh God, they're gonna never let me hear the end of this, right?" And they all got together and watched it with a bunch of kids, and the kids were just eating it up. Just like to Bobby's point, you don't care that it's because of the story and the strength of the characters. You just don't care that the special effects are not up to snuff, and I think this is prime example of that. And again, it's the first part of the Hinchcliffe era, which I believe is the best era in Doctor Who ever, and almost all of those are going to get at least a 4 from me. So,
nope, totally understandable. Mary,
I am going to give this a 4.75.
Ooh,
because I just think this episode is so much fun. It is just incredible fun. I've watched it tons of times. I'm going to watch it a ton of more times, I'm sure. It's my favorite combination of Hinchcliffe and Robert Holmes. I mean, they are just magic together. It's a wonderful story. The 4 episodes just fly by. I don't care at all about the special effects. In fact, they're just kind of endearing and charming. And the actors sell it. They totally sell it. The sets are great. And if you're just getting introduced to classic Who, I think it's a great one to start with.
Mm-hmm. No, agree completely. Like you said, this is not the, last time I will watch this. And I was entertained. It flew by. The 4 episodes. And I love on BritBox that you can skip the beginning. I watch it the first time, the intro, but after that, you don't have to watch it over and over. Yeah, I love Tom's head popping up through the, time vortex and everything. But after like 4 times, God, if it's a 6-part episode, it's like, okay, get it over with already. Enough already. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. This one did not drag at all. This one didn't. I'm going to give it a solid 5. It was enjoyable. And like Bobby, this was my second episode of Doctor Who I had ever seen. The first one was The Talons, and that was on WOR in New York like 2 years before. And I kept on trying to find the show and, find it again, and then found it on PBS. And I was like, oh, he's back, the guy with the scarf. I didn't even know he was called the Doctor at the time, and it was just awesome. And I was hooked from that point on. I watched over and over because the PBS station that I grew up with, they got to Legopolis, the regeneration, and then restarted at Robot all over again, and just went through each time. The only time we got to see Peter's episodes was at Pledge Drive. So, and then we got to start seeing older episodes, when they realized that, Peter's only had so many episodes out. So at in the spring Pledge Drive, they started showing the third Doctor or some of the second Doctor. So it was pretty awesome. And, it was great to be able to relive this and see it again. And I felt like a 10-year-old again watching it. And it was just awesome.
I also think this one too, this episode is a good, for people that are interested in classic Who have never seen it. This is a good one to start with because you don't have to go in knowing anything.
Mm-mm.
And they feel
it's almost like a clean state.
Yeah.
Because it's a brand new Doctor. This is his first journey. Sarah, he has a female companion. You don't need to know any backstory for her. They don't even really ever talk about that she was a reporter anyway. They basically just say, this is Sarah. Yeah,
and they
my best friend.
Yeah, and they tell you that it's a spaceship and a time machine. We know he's got two hearts. So we know he's not human. So yeah, we get all the stuff that we need in these episodes.
One thing I did notice with this, it was really weird. I don't know if it was a production thing, but when the TARDIS appeared, it didn't fade in. All they had was the light showing, and it was like it was dark then, and they showed the light, but the TARDIS was sitting there, and they had the sound coming.
Well, they had spent all that money on bubble wrap,
Right.
So we had to cut costs somewhere else. I did notice that too.
Point.
That we do. It does kind of focus in on just the light.
It's the light, and it's like, oh, the TARDIS just appeared, But yeah, because we're so used to seeing it, fade in, and it's just like, it was there. It was just like, okay. It's like, okay, we know where this week's special effects budget went, But yeah, this is just awesome. And folks, we could gush over this one for a while because there's so much good to talk about, and it is a lot of fun. I even read the Target novelization of it, and it's really well done. So now, definitely check it out if you get a chance.
Where did you guys see it? I mean, do we want to let people know where they can see it if they're interested?
Oh yeah, I got to see it on BritBox.
I watched it on Amazon Prime. You had to pay for it, but it was very inexpensive.
Yeah,
I didn't know if it was streaming anywhere else.
I think it's only on BritBox right now.
All the classic stuff is just on BritBox now as part of that.
Well, now I did notice that one of the apps,
Pluto TV also though.
Yeah, too. Pluto TV does it, but one of the apps was it for AMC's app has classic Doctor Who's, but not all of them. And because this one wasn't there this season, they didn't have anything, but they had other stuff on the AMC app.
The AMC app it's kind of weird because they partner with BBC America, and that's how they're able to do it. Because that's how I was able to watch the holiday special, and because I did the free 7-day thing, and then right before it's like cancel, no, because it's like I just don't need to pay for another streaming service right now, and I know I think HBO Max just started having the holiday special on last week. So, because they also have all the new series on HBO Max that you could see. So there are other places to see it, but it's far and few between. It's not as easy to see it like you used to be able to.
Pluto TV is pretty awesome. Other than you can't just pick and choose. You have to just watch whatever they're showing. But it is nice. I've seen some I haven't seen before watching it through Pluto TV.
Yeah, I got to watch Earthshock the other day, and I was sitting there. I was rooting for the Cybermen, so it's okay.
Did you cheer when Edric blew up?
Well, I kept on thinking about the new series where the Doctor can materialize the TARDIS around somebody, and it's like, and it's like, why didn't they do that with Edric? Oh, sorry, fixed point in time. Can't do that.
That's broken. That's can't.
I didn't have that much control of the TARDIS at the time.
Yeah, maybe that was something he learned after that episode.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I didn't figure that out till after Edric.
Oh yeah. I'm so caught up in the moment.
River Song taught me that one. Yeah, that's it. So yeah, it was pretty fun, and it's to get a classic series Doctor Who fix. Pluto TV is awesome and everything. The only thing you have is commercials.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I mean, I watched the DVD, and I know that this is available on Blu-ray. The complete first season of Tom Baker is available on Blu-ray. Also, his third season and his seventh season. So it's kind of odd that the release schedule for that is odd, but nevertheless, you can get them on.
It's almost like you're a time traveler buying them out of order.
And they're they're pretty affordable, actually. I mean, $40 for less than $40 for the whole season of Tom Baker. That's, to me,
and if
a good deal.
And if they're anything like the DVDs, they're packed with extras. Because the DVDs are just full of extra bits. And
oh god, yeah, it's great.
Yeah, the DVD set that I have is special edition, so it's got 2 discs, and it's a lot of material. Especially since it was Tom's second story, so there's a lot of promotional stuff and all that stuff thrown on there.
Yep. It's pretty awesome. So we definitely would love to hear from you guys at home. Please write us at feedback@earthstationwho.com. Let us know what you guys thought of it. Or if we missed a place where it's streaming, let us know so that way we could let everybody else know. It'd be great. And we don't basically, recognize pirating on the show or, or getting,
do that.
We'd never do that on the show. So anyway, but definitely would love to hear from you guys. Join us again in 2 weeks. We are going to be back, and we are going to the 9th Doctor era. That's right, folks. We are going to be looking at, you ready for this, kids? We are looking at The Long Game. It's a great, great Doctor Who story. It actually introduces Satellite 5 and also has a very familiar-looking villain to the sci-fi world. And, it's pretty awesome. I'm looking forward to it. And, we also get to meet Adam, the companion that failed in this one. So there's a lot good to this one. 2
space stations in a row.
I know. Yeah. On Earth Station Who. How about that? Yeah, shocker. You'd almost think a theme is going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. All space stations all the time.
You'd almost think we planned it.
It's almost.
No, we didn't. We're not that sprite.
I remember the staff. I remember the staff meetings. I know better.
Yeah. I miss those staff meetings. Sitting around at Sweet Tomato. Yeah. What are we going to talk about this week? I don't know. What do you guys want to talk about?
We'll figure it out.
Exactly. The good old days. Well, let's thank everyone for being here tonight. Bobby, thank you so much, my friend.
Oh, thank you guys for having me back. This was fun. It's been too long since I've talked Doctor Who, so this was a very nice change of pace. And then again, this is my second time with you guys because I was on Earth Station 1 a couple of weeks ago. So it's a great way to kick off my year hanging out with you guys. That's
exactly. So what do you got going on this year? What kind of things do you have happening?
Well, I hope at some point there will be a convention. That would be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, it'd be nice to be able to go back to work, do some acting. That would be fun too. But I don't know when any of that's going to happen. So in the meantime, I'm a writing fool. I'm trying to get as much stuff done as I can. I actually just today accepted 2 new projects for later in the year. So 2021 is looking like a biggie. So now I just got to get it done.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. And how could people find you, sir?
Oh yeah. BobbyNash.com is my website. I'm author Bobby Nash on Facebook. I'm Bobby Nash Writes on Instagram, and I'm at Bobby Nash on Twitter. Please stop by and say hello.
Excellent. Very, very excellent. And let's thank our regulars. Of course, Mr. Mike Gordon.
As always, it's my pleasure.
Always great to talk to you, my friend. Not that we only do it once or twice a week anyway. And, of course, Mary Ogle, thank you.
Oh, thank you. This was a lovely episode to talk about. I love Ark in Space. I hope everyone goes out and watches it.
Anything you want to promote?
You can find my artwork at maryogle.com or on Etsy at eVision Arts.
Excellent. Very
and on
cool.
the cover of the Earth Station Tales of the ESO, Volume 3?
Volume
3, right? 3?
2?
2, 3, one of them. 2.
Isn't it
Volume
2? I think it's Volume 2.
Yes, 2. So, very cool. And Mary does some great work. You can see some of her work actually also on our TeePublic store. She did a couple of the T-shirts up there, and it's pretty awesome stuff that she does. Mm-hmm. She's an amazing artist, folks. Please check her out.
And we're putting up new designs all the time, so everyone check it out. We've got some really fun stuff up there.
Yep. Definitely would love to people to check it out and buy stuff. Help support the station. It'd be great. It would be awesome. But on behalf of myself, Mike Faber, and Mike Gordon, Mary Ogle, and Bobby Nash, we will see you here next time on Earth Station Who. Peace, take it easy, and stay safe. And we're done.
Hey.
Hey.
You have been listening to Earth Station Who, a bi-weekly pop culture podcast dedicated to all things Doctor Who, featuring talent from across the universe. All topics on the show are the sole opinions of the individual and are used for entertainment value alone. You subscribe to our podcast up on iTunes, Stitcher, or follow our blog at www.esopodcast.com. You can also follow us up on Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. If you enjoyed the show, please leave feedback up on iTunes.
The 42 cast is turning 100, but like all good things, it must come to an end. Tune in to our epic finale as we see who lives, who dies, and who gets their own spin-off. And then come back when the 42 cast is back for Season 2, with even more segments, more guests, and more of explaining why Ryan is wrong. It's why we're still the ultimate answer to fandom, geekiness, and everything. You can only find all this awesome by downloading the 42 cast, a proud member of the ESO Network.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.